Hello, dear friends. I'm Roland Gunter, homeopath in Royston on Vancouver Island. And I picked again a topic today about guilt. It doesn't sound very attractive and very beautiful, but there's something that's really important. You probably have all heard or read some romantic novel where two men decided to be blood brothers and promised to stand up for each other forever. At least we as boys, we played stuff like that, yeah? And then one of the heroes had to die for the other one, something like that. Well, these blood brotherships, they do exist in life, but they are rarely so romantic. I'm born German, and as German, being born after the war, I've been born into the aftermath of war and Holocaust. And these become topics in my life that I simply cannot avoid. They weave through my whole life. And yes, with Jewish people, for example, whenever I meet them, there's right away something that connects us deeply, something that cannot be denied, something that is has more intensity and even more a push pull an energy charge than when I meet other people in the world that I don't know. Bert Hellinger, who started the modality of family constellation, which is a wonderful tool to connect and reconnect with one's ancestry and ancestral energies. He said, when there was a blood crime, then victim and perpetrator become family. They create a bond between them that's as strong as the bloodlines that go through a family. And so this is a brotherhood of crime or of a disrespect of some sacred law that has no freedom, no choice. Like these romantic blood brothers that promise to be brothers forever, there's a certain degree of freedom in it because they commit freely. So with that also comes that you can decommit. Being born into something like this, there's no decommitting. I cannot say, oh, I simply don't care. Or if I say, what I do is I pass it on to my children or grandchildren, somebody else to take care of it. It does not disappear energetically, it sits. It's a decision that I did not do, but that has been done a generation or two before me. And, and I simply was born into it. It's not up for discussion. It's not a choice. And as such, it's very, very strong. And for me in my life, it felt like a curse for a long time. Oh, there's this guilt and it's terrible. And meanwhile, I don't think I inherit the guilt. I probably inherited a feeling of guilt, of being guilty, and I inherit the responsibility to take care of the consequences. That definitely. How I do that and how I live it is my choice. And in that, there's still it gives my life a certain freedom, a certain frame, but also a great freedom within it. And I only can tell you, once I accepted that responsibility wholeheartedly, did not avoid it anymore, all, but even went looking for it and facing it and walking into it, looking for the communication, searching for ways to communicate, to include what had happened in the past. It really turned around. It became something else. It became something that enriched my life greatly. Numerous, many deep conversations, deep, intimate, close soul connections, friendships, long-standing uh, communications that kept going for years in dealing with it and going through that and seeing how are you with this and with that and what's the consequences in our lives. Uh, I met people and have close connections to people I otherwise never would have met, and a close connection also to the Jewish history, culture, background, religion. And as such, yes, I feel it enriched my life. There's other things like that. Colonialism, for example. Yes, by immigrating here into Canada, I step into inheritance of colonialism. I am privileged to live here where I live, where 150 years ago it was native land. And so I step into a privilege and also into into the same brotherhood, into the same deep sense of connectedness with indigenous peoples that lived here before white people came. And it is also something that plays out with my life, in my life. There was an Australian Aborigines elder, a woman, and she said, if you're coming to help us, you're wasting your time. But if you're aware that your liberation is tied up with ours, let's work together. I do not know any other statement that nailed it so beautifully, that expressed it in this clarity and precision like she did. Your liberation is tied up with ours. Why our liberation? Well, the perpetrator and the victim, they both are tied up into something. You can call it karma or whatever. Yeah, something that has consequences and that ties us together. And we need each other to work through that and to find a future. There's no future in separation. There's only the future in finding a solution, something, a new relationship that includes the old thing, but also creates something new. It's, yeah, like I said, these blood crimes, they are create a brotherhood that we don't have the freedom to dissolve. It's like a promise written with blood, with the blood on the hands of our forefathers, with the blood that our forefathers and mothers shed. This promise written with blood, you shall not walk alone. And we cannot walk alone through many of the big problems. So maybe some of you are also born into something bigger, events like that, collective events, and feel locked up in it. I really want to encourage you. There's a way to make it into something not only painful, the pain will always be part of it, but also really rewarding, enriching. For me, it became part of my life's purpose, of what gives meaning to my life. And as such, it's okay, it's good, and we can do it. Thank you so much for listening. See you again.